Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use, tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, you guys. I might get carried away with this one because of the fact that I am an honorable U.S. Army veteran, almost 6 years, 5 years and 8 months. So one thing I can't stand are fake military or people who are so-called veterans that are lying or fraudulently claiming things that they are not. Also, what is it called? Stolen valor. This is from financeyahoo.com. The founder of Scientology, allegedly, is one of the strangest U.S. Navy records ever. It's a nice way to put it. By Amanda Macias, April 7th, 2015. National Personnel Record. I really wonder about all this. You know, a lot of mind control experiments and so-called famous singers sometimes famous politicians or maybe a pop star have links to the military. Their fathers were often high-ranking military people. Sometimes linked to Charlie Igloo Alpha. Go look at Marilyn Monroe. Before creating the Church of Scientology, allegedly, Lafayette Ron Hubbard was a successful science fiction writer, allegedly, and served in the U.S. Navy, allegedly. HBO going clear. L. Ron Hubbard wearing the rank of lieutenant. You guys know that that's the it's the lowest rank, right, of an officer. And it just hit me right now. I don't know what the qualifications are for a Navy officer, especially back in those days. But I believe nowadays, for a person to become an officer in the Navy, Army, Marines, any military, I think they are supposed to have at least a 4-year college degree. I don't think L. Ron Hubbard had that. Strangely, the U.S. Navy and the Church of Scientology have produced drastically different accounts of Hubbard's military career. And I've looked for his DD-214. DD-214 is military discharge papers. I have had a hard time finding the real document. And you'll never get the full story unless you have copy 4 of the DD-214 form. It's a fact. In one version, Hubbard was a college graduate. Boy, did I call that. I don't think that fool had any college degree. I don't think he had a college degree. He had a lot of trouble in a lot of subjects. But we're supposed to believe he's some type of genius, right? In one version, Hubbard was a college graduate and Purple Heart recipient. Now, you guys know he didn't get a Purple Heart. Allegedly, I don't believe that for one freaking second. Dude had no courage. At the end of his life, he was hiding in the middle of nowhere in a trailer house, scared of the authorities. That's not someone who has courage. And I personally do not think he had a degree. In one version, Hubbard was a college grad. Oh, I keep reading the same thing, sorry. Another narrative shows Hubbard was 2 years shy of finishing college and had minimal military training. Something real sus here. I don't know, I'm really getting Charlie Igloo Alpha vibes, you guys. These stark differences are most notably found on Hubbard's notice of separation from U.S. Naval Service form, as pointed out by the New Yorker. The documents produced by both the Church of Scientology and the U.S. Navy have discrepancies in the most basic areas. Now, you guys got to ask yourself, I'm not going to go too deep, but you got to ask yourself why a person like this black-toothed, pot-belly, fat slob who thinks it's okay for grown-ass men to kiss 7-year-old girls on the mouth passionately, and all these discrepancies in his military record, why would a person like that be put on a pedestal, made a guru? Did you guys wonder? Number 1, date of entry into active service. It's your start date. I still remember mine. I'm not saying it here. I had 2 of them. 2, service schools completed. That'd be your military occupational specialty. Everyone who goes into the military goes to these schools, even now. 3, service vessels and stations served on. 4, service schools completed. Why do they have that in here 2 times? Someone screwed up. 5, discharge payment amount. That's not always applicable to everybody. It's not applicable to everyone. I got a payment, but that's because I had a medical discharge. 6, awards. Oh, you guys don't even know how I'd love to see these so-called awards this fat slob had. Signature by direction of commanding officer. That's another thing I'd like to see. 8, college graduate. Yeah, that would be easy to find. All you have to do is go to the university he so-called went to and so-called graduated. There's no record. That means he didn't graduate. Period. That's Investigation 101, LAPD. 9, fingerprint. Yeah, I had to get my fingerprint when I went in. Military archivist Eric Voltz and William Siebert of the National Personnel Records Center in St. Louis, Missouri, told the New Yorker that both documents have some serious errors. Don't you guys wonder why someone like that was never disgraced? Doesn't that make inquiring MF minds want to know? Does me. Here's a look at the Navy's version, and here's the form without notes. Well, let's see if this passes my test. Hold on, you guys. Here's this Amanda Macias again. Something's not smelling right here. Oh, here it is. Hold on. Notice of separation. This does not smell right to me. I should know more. Because you got your DD-214, something discharge papers. I can't remember what the DD-214 stands for. But most people didn't get notice of separation, I don't think. Notice his rank is a lieutenant, which means he never made rank. He never made rank. He was, seems to me like he was a butter bar. You guys are going to love this. Listen to this, you guys. This is supposedly his address. 8777. Sounds very gematria. Lookout Mountain Avenue. Where else, you guys? Where else do you think? Hollywood, California. Can you guys read between the lines? White male, married. He's a U.S. citizen. I don't know what that means, registered. Is that for the draft? Imagine that fool going through a war. Selective service. Bremerton, Washington. I thought he was from Nebraska. Means of entry indicate by checking in appropriate box. He's enlisted. So he was enlisted when he went in. Permanent commissioned. How did he get his commission? Something ain't adding up. That date is July 5th, 41. Qualification certificates held. Intelligence officer, commander. What a perfect what a perfect unit he's from, you guys. Intelligence. Wakey, wakey, everybody. Escort vessels. Navigator. Okay, slowly. Then here's the dates. So if he was from, I thought he was from Nebraska, why was his place of entry New York, New York? I know in the Army they have what they call MEP stations, which are the various cities that you can enter into the military. I think all of them have that. Maybe that's why he was in New York. Net service, years and dates. I was in the military longer than this fool was. He was in for 4 years, 8 months, and it looks to me, so he was from Nebraska. It looks to me like he never made any rank. Date and place of birth, March 1911, Tilda, Nebraska. Home address at the time of entry into service. Explorers Club, New York, New York. Okay, hold on. Okay, now it's saying his service school was completed SCTC, Miami, Florida. Doesn't even say what the name of the school is. Oh, it does. SCTC. I want to know what that stands for. You see where this fool got all the use of acronyms? Because he clearly didn't get any rank. Service vessels and stations. New York, New York. You guys know the other officers couldn't stand it. I mean, you know that, right? Asiatic Fleet Intelligence. Can you guys tell me what this fool was doing in intelligence? You guys should know what I'm trying to allude to. Okay, I'm going to stop this for a second. I don't want to give you guys a headache by scrolling all over the place. Now, this is asking about insurance. Effective month of allotment. You know, back in the day, they had to type these, and you'd have to use carbon paper in between the different copies. You made one mistake, you had to start all over. Month, next premium date. Amount of premium due each month, $7.20. Intention of veteran to continue insurance. And then here's the name of the dispersing officer. R.E. Maps, Lieutenant Commander. Would you guys have loved to get any statements on this fool? Okay, we got Social Security, then it's blotted out for some reason. American Theater, American Defense, Asiatic Pacific, Expert Rifle and Pistol, which everybody has to qualify in those. Victory Medal. He should have had more medals, you guys. Name and address of last employer, self-employed, New York, New York. Maybe he was claiming he was an author. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Civilian occupation, freelance writer. Job preference, listen to this, uncertain. Scam artist bum. Okay, hold on. I don't know what's this stupid thing. Non-service education years, 8 years, 4 months. Or wait, no, I screwed that up. I don't know what that means. I'm going to skip it. No fingerprint, you guys. Inquiring MF minds want to know why there's no fingerprint there. Off-duty educational courses. Well, that tells you where he got the word course from. Major course on field, civil engineering. Okay, if you guys need a good laugh, let's look at the propaganda that should have had this guy in jail for claiming things that he didn't do in the military, claiming things that he was not in the military. Any other Joe Schmo would have been in jail. But for some weird, bizarre, strange, freaking black magic reason, maybe, he never went to jail for anything. He seemed to be a pedophile to me when he's telling people you can kiss 7-year-old girls passionately on the lips and that the little girl should not resist because, get this, she remembers all her sexual experiences from her past lives. Isn't that wonderful? Here's a look at the Church of Scientology's version. And here's the form without notes. You guys know I'm going to tear it apart, right? Oh, it's not publicly available. Let me see if I can find it. Were they sad that everybody was finding out the truth? Okay, guys, just for the heck of it, I thought it'd be funny to show you that my suspicions were not just mine. This is from CSCMU, which I really like this site. 4.2, The Intelligence Connection. In 1984, L. Ron Hubbard's service record came under close scrutiny during the trial of his former archivist, Jerry Armstrong. You guys know what I think about him, too. Witnesses were cross-examined on matters documented in the record, and Scientology itself placed Hubbard's former second in command, Thomas Moulton, on the witness stand. I don't trust him either. The results were disastrous for Scientology. The case was lost, and the judge found that Hubbard had lied systematically about his past. The records themselves ended up either being read into the proceedings or were entered as exhibits in the case. Either way, many of the more damaging documents were now part of the public record. Imagine that, you guys. Okay, you guys, I'm not able to find, right at this very moment, the fake, in my opinion, military record of L. Ron Hubbard. But I just wanted to scroll and show you how many articles, blogs, and other sites are talking about L. Ron Hubbard's so-called service. Here's from Quora. Why was L. Ron Hubbard removed from command twice in the U.S. Navy? Okay, I don't want to read that whole thing because we're going off topic. I am going off topic. Okay, this is an interesting article. Just to cut to the chase, I'm not even going to put the link in there because I'm not going to go over it too much. There was a court case in the Superior Court, Judge Lawrence Waddington, who last week ordered the documents released. Hours after they were released, set a January 16 hearing to decide the issue. Boxes filled with hundreds of papers. Hubbard's diaries, letters, military records, and unpublished manuscripts. Anyways, long story short, they did not let the public see them. You guys want to wonder why? So since I couldn't find Scientology's version, which you guys know is a bunch of BS, which most people would have landed in jail for, the rest of Hubbard's services record is speckled with conflicting documents regarding his military rank, achievements, medical records, and combat experience. I'd like to know more about his father. I really do need to finish that book. I can't think of it right now. Oh, Barefaced Messiah. Ron Hubbard wearing the rank of lieutenant. That's basically, in the officer world, that's just like an enlisted private. How he wound up being an officer, something not adding up here. So he's got just the basic ribbons. Any schmuck can get these little ribbons. I can't really tell which ones they are, but if you serve in a certain campaign, everybody gets the ribbon. It's not a big deal. A service member's rank is crucial to the military's attention to detail, uniformity, and structure. Like a hive mind? Military personnel are visibly identified with rank insignias on uniforms and are consistently addressed by the rank in conversation. In the Army, it's sir or ma'am. Well, this is the dress uniform. Hubbard claims that he achieved the rank of lieutenant commander. I don't believe that for a minute. Which is 7 notches below the highest rank in the U.S. Navy, a 5-star fleet admiral. Sounds to me like that's similar to a general, maybe? The following documents narrate the military's inability to produce clear documentation on a defining organization detail, rank. Right there, you guys, wouldn't that tell you that the government means, which means to control? Wouldn't the government had completely dismantled all of this? According to the U.S. Navy document from November 1945, Hubbard was initially rejected. There you go. For the lieutenant commander promotion because he was not considered physically qualified for the rank. Oh, I'm sure there was more to it than that. Here's a letter the Chief of Naval Personnel sent to Hubbard. National Personnel Records, Amanda Macias, Business Insider. However, a U.S. Navy letter stamped 25 June 1947 from the Chief of Naval Personnel to Hubbard confirms a temporary promotion status to Lieutenant Commander. Something weird here, you guys. I'm not a military expert or, some men are so good with that. That's not me. That does not sound right. I've never in my entire life heard of something so crazy. Temporary promotion status? You guys know who could make that happen, right? You are carried on the records of this bureau as a lieutenant commander to rank from 3 October 1945, the letter states. Here's a look at the letter. My dad actually served in the Army a few years after this fake fool. Chief of Naval Personnel. Reference. Promulgated while you were in an active duty status. He wasn't in long. Authorized your appointment to the rank of Lieutenant Commander. Since this appointment was not delivered and accepted while you were in an active duty status, somebody please explain that to me. Does that mean he wasn't in the military? This letter is forwarded to confirm your temporary promotion status in the Naval Reserve. The Reserve? There you go, you guys. He wasn't even in the regular Navy. Three, you are carried on the records of this bureau as a lieutenant commander to rank from 3 October 1945 while on inactive duty. You guys know what inactive duty is? Well, I could be wrong on this. If he's in the reserve, it might be a little different. Now, I know what inactive status means when you're in the regular military, like I was. When you get discharged from the military, like I was, you are put into an inactive status. And then, depending on how long you're in that inactive status, you could be the first called for war. Unless they're talking about inactive while in the reserve, which is different. Now I forgot where I was. While you were in an active duty status. Okay, I screwed that one up, you guys. This letter is forwarded to confirm your... No, I didn't. I don't know, you guys. I'm just gonna read it. Your temporary promotion status in the Naval Reserve. That part I got right. Something ain't adding up, you guys. I don't want to read the whole thing. It's too long. National Personnel Records, Amanda Macias, Business Insider. And then there is Hubbard's Officer Precedence Record, which shows a service member's promotion history. The following document shows that 3 years after receiving the temporary lieutenant commander rank, in my entire life, I'd never heard of this. Hubbard was permanently promoted on June 3rd, 1948. Somebody tell me why he would have been promoted. Inquiring minds want to know. You guys know who could make that happen, right? The form below shows that Hubbard followed the Navy's promotion ladder with lieutenant junior grade, LT, that's the picture we have here, Lieutenant LT, and finally Lieutenant Commander. So that sounds to me, I'm not an expert with this, that would have been captain in the Army. Here's his promotion history card. Based on the paper trail so far, it would appear that Hubbard's highest rank was Lieutenant Commander as of June 3rd, 1948. However, the records were revisited 30 years later when the U.S. Navy received the following handwritten letter from a Mr. William Hess. You guys know that name sounds familiar, right? Remember the not C? The not C, Hess? If you know, you know. From a Mr. William Hess of Portland, Oregon. Not Germany, right? In his letter, Hess asked for verification that Ronald Red Hubbard, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy, skipper of Albina subchaser in 1945, Purple Heart, etc., was in fact a U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander, and what were the periods of his military service and what type of military discharge. As this information is very much in the public interest, can your office verify that Mr. Hubbard was a Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy, and inform me as to length, period of service, and time of discharge? Well, maybe Hess wasn't related to you-know-who, but it's the way my goofy brain thinks, you guys. A few months later, the U.S. Navy replied to Hess with the following letter showing that Hubbard's highest military rank was lieutenant. There you go, you guys. I knew it. And as you'll notice, we never see a picture of him with the lieutenant commander rank. That Hubbard's highest military rank was lieutenant, not lieutenant commander as Hubbard claimed. Would have put most of us in jail, right? There is also no mention that Hubbard was awarded the Purple Heart. Of course not, you guys. Come on. He thinks kissing a 7-year-old girl passionately on the lips she should accept that. This should have had people on the streets marching, honestly. Especially the veterans that did get that honorably, the Purple Heart. Purple Heart awarded with an oak leaf. Oak leaf is also some type of symbol, signifying a second award. The Church of Scientology, the U.S. Navy, and Hubbard have circulated different accounts of the awards achieved during his service. The church maintains that during his service, Hubbard, a war hero. All we'd have to do is seek all the frickin' veterans on frickin' Scientology. They would lose their mind. Who received a Purple Heart among a dozen other honors. Oh, that's funny. The central requirement of the Purple Heart award is to have endured a combat-related injury. The Purple Heart in Hubbard's Scientology document is a Purple Heart palm, meaning that he received a Purple Heart and then received another after suffering a subsequent injury. The palm designation, bronze oak leaf, is added to the award. Since his sister service branches do not maintain a centralized database of military awards, there is not a readily available list of Purple Heart recipients. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, veterans. Wouldn't the Purple Heart be indicated on his DD-214? Or separation papers? Pretty sure it would. Did you guys see it there? I didn't. As noted earlier, the Navy listed 4 awards in Hubbard's file. American Defense Medal, by the way, that was given to anyone who served during that time. American Campaign Medal, another ribbon medal given to everybody who served during that time. Everybody gets it. Just like I got the Desert Storm. I've got it in my, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I've got one of those I served during First Desert Storm. American Campaign Medal. Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal. Again, these are just medals, or they're ribbons on your uniform. Everybody gets them. I don't know what the Victory Medal is. I'm not sure about that. As directed by Hubbard, the Church of Scientology released a Flag Operations Liaison Memo in May 28, 1974, to outline the highlights of his freaking 4-year career. What a joke. Unreal. They sure did prop him up, you guys. You wonder why that would be? Along with Hubbard's ever-changing list, military words, he also had a plethora of physical ailments obtained mostly from his time in the South Pacific. Nearly all of the records from Hubbard's time in the South Pacific, reportedly in the early 1940s, are missing from his Navy personnel file. Of course they are. Like I said, most people would have been thrown in jail for this. While deployed to the region, Hubbard claimed he became blinded and crippled. Very disrespectful to people that actually did. So wouldn't that have made him what do they call it, degraded being? When he had been considered a degraded being, you guys. In his 1965 essay, My Philosophy, he describes the combat injuries. Oh, God. Let's see what. I'm not reading that garbage. Hubbard writes, I guess I am reading it. Unreal. Blinded with injured optic nerves and lame with physical injuries to hip and back, at the end of World War II, I faced an almost non-existent future. My service record states this officer has no neurotic or psychotic tendencies of any kind whatsoever. But it also states permanently disabled physically, which means he's a degraded being. If it was true, you guys know it's a lie. And so there came a further blow. I was abandoned by family and friends, good, as a supposedly hopeless cripple, and a probable burden upon them for the rest of my days. Yeah, he was a burden on society for sure. I yet worked my way back to fitness and strength, please. In less than 2 years, lies, using only what I knew and could determine about man in his relationship to the universe. I had no one to help me. What I had to know, I had to find out. And it's quite a trick studying when you cannot see. I became used to being told it was all impossible, that there was no way, no hope. Yet I came to see again and walk again. Of course he did. And I built an entirely new life. Yes, sucking money from everyone. It is a happy life, a busy one, and I hope a useful one. Fail. In a television interview after the release of his book, Dianetics, Hubbard explained that he was able to remove the mental blocks that kept him from recovering. The techniques he used would become the basis of Scientology. About a month after he returned from the South Pacific, Hubbard underwent a routine physical at the U.S. Naval Hospital in Brooklyn, New York. On May 11, 1942, Hubbard was diagnosed with conjunctivitis. How do I say that? Conjunctivitis and a sprained ankle. Oh, wow, that's a lot, isn't it? 4 days later, he was listed as ready for duty and advised to wear dark glasses for at least 10 days. The church says Hubbard was a very fine commanding officer who sank a Japanese submarine. He sure did have a lot of photos for just some basic lieutenant, right? Who was taking all these photographs? Inquiring MF minds want to know. Like he's some superstar or something, right? In the same Flag Operations Liaison Memo from the Church of Scientology, it says Hubbard sunk a Japanese submarine when he was a commander of a squadron of warships. According to the memo, the vessel under the direct command engaged a Japanese Imperial Naval submarine, and sank it off the coast of Oregon. I mean, seriously, you guys. And then here's the Scientology version. I don't want to read it. Admiral Frank Jack Fletcher, a Medal of Honor recipient and U.S. Navy-operated commander during the battles of the Coral Sea and Midway, was assigned to investigate Hubbard's sinking of a Japanese submarine. In his report dated June 8, 1943, to the Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, then Commander of the Northwest Sea Frontier, Fletcher writes, "An analysis of all reports convinces me that there was no submarine in the area." Admiral Fletcher's investigation suggested that Hubbard mistakenly read a magnetic iron ore deposit on the ocean floor as two enemy submarines on that sonar. And then there's the report. Hubbard opens fire near Mexico. Coronado Islands. Shortly after Hubbard's disputed engagement with Japanese submarines in Oregon, he found himself ordered before a military tribunal, imagine that, you guys, for anchoring and firing shells near one of Mexico's Coronado Islands. During World War II, Mexico granted the U.S. Army permission to hold practice exercises near the islands, unappreciative of Hubbard's impromptu training. Being shot at? The Mexican Navy filed a formal complaint with the U.S. authorities in 1943. Here's the official complaint against Hubbard, as established by the U.S. Pacific Fleet. But imagine they allow this guy to go on and found a so-called religion. Almost like it was a conspiracy or a plan of someone, right? Missing documents from Hubbard's year in the South Pacific. In 1976, the Missouri Church of Scientology requested Hubbard's military service record from the Navy. Hubbard's claimed lieutenant commander rank, Purple Heart, in tour in the South Pacific are not mentioned in the Navy's letter. In fact, it didn't mention him being deployed to the South Pacific at all. Here's the Navy's letter to the Church of Scientology. So there's documents here, you guys. 3 years later, the Navy sent the following letter to Mr. Hess, again outlining Hubbard's military service record, as done before for the Missouri Church of Scientology. The letter shows that Hubbard worked in naval intelligence and was assigned to the South Pacific in 1941 until 1942. The missing South Pacific period falls between his time in Camp Pollard, Virginia, in New York. Here's the Navy's response to Hess. I love that there's documentation here. I'm not going to read all of it. All in all, L. Ron Hubbard's time in the U.S. Navy, whether as a lieutenant commander with a Purple Heart, you guys know that's a lie, or a lieutenant with basic military training, yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Remains a mystery. No, it doesn't. Given all of the contradictions and discrepancies in official documents, the only reason they said it remains a mystery is because, one, they don't want to get sued, or two, they're in on the cover-up. But they don't sound like they're covering up here, you guys. The only thing that's certain is the founder of Scientology, allegedly, has one of the strangest backstories in the Navy. Yeah, one of the biggest shore stories. So I'll leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night, wherever you are. Peace.